I think for me, a lot of times, the feel of a place that I'm in can make or break how I perform.
Mm-hmm.
I think I felt that with the studio in a different way, where when I walked in, I saw the wood and I saw the dark ceiling, and I felt like a very safe, creative space where I could just really feel comfortable and kind of get into my zone. Um, yeah, it felt natural and it felt warm instead of cold and daunting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad about that. That was part of the goal when we designed it. We wanted it to feel that way. I have to run next
Yeah.
door to get my power supply. I'll be right back. I just
Okay.
realized I'm almost out of battery. Give me 30 seconds.
Ron, since you're gone getting your power supply, I just want you to know how much I love you. I think you're awesome and great. I'm glad you're thriving. The studio looks freaking amazing. And hopefully in the future, I can fly back from Arizona and track with you guys in the new setup. I'd love to be there helping, but I'm half a
28,
world away.
29. Okay, that was a lie. I just started counting when I came through the door. I'm not sure I
You're,
made it. Well, the breezeway is where the courtyard used to be between the house and the studio.
yep.
So now it's all inside.
Joel's kept me up to date a little bit, obviously, because I'm close with him and he's been
Yeah.
working with you. So
Yeah.
I've been asking him questions and looking at different stuff he sent me and trying to get a feel for it all. And
He's been
it's
doing a lot.
exciting.
He's been doing a lot of mixing with me. Well, I know that he has a deep love for you as well, and there's sort of that network of people that have gotten to know each other. Talk about that a little bit. Have there been people through Bring Your Song and interacting through the studio that you've been able to make connections with and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I'll just start at the beginning. Zach Hefner
Yeah.
was dating Beth,
Hmm.
and they came over to our house. Amy and I, my wife and I, were newly married. They came over to our house for dinner, and they said, "Yeah, we can come have dinner, but we have something going on afterwards." And we said, "That's perfect. We have something going on afterwards too." So we finished dinner, and they're like, "All right, where are you? We're gonna head out." And we were like, "Okay, cool. See ya. Where are you guys going?" They said, "We're going to this thing called Bring Your Song." And I said, "No way." I said, "That's exactly where we're going." Like, how did you hear about it? And they were like, I don't know. How did you hear about it? So we ended up coming together to that.
That's wild.
And
I have
yeah,
pictures. I have pictures of that night.
yeah,
Yeah, it was freezing cold.
it was so cold. And it was just fun to. It's always just fun to share what you're working on and what you're creating. I mean,
Yeah,
no one, most people don't write a song or paint a piece of art and then throw it in a closet. You share it with people.
right.
But yeah, that was my connection with Zach, and then Zach and I came and helped build the studio a little bit and did the hell insulation week. Rock wool
Oh, that was
falling
terrible.
all over. Dude, I rode my motorcycle there, and then we put the rock wool up in the ceiling, so
Yeah,
it's falling down
yeah.
into your shirt and our pants. So on my ride home, it just felt like 1,000 little needles like stabbing me. But I'm honored that I got to do that because
Oh man,
it was good, honest, hard work.
it was some of the hardest work. And you guys left. You guys left the night before the drywallers came, and I couldn't believe how much you got done. I went to a wedding. I had a wedding to go to, so
Yeah, yeah.
I worked that morning until you guys got there, and then we worked together. Like, you came in the afternoon, we worked together for about an hour. Then I went in and got cleaned up. I went to that wedding, and I came back, and you guys had just left. I couldn't believe how much you got done, but I
And
still
then you stayed up all night, didn't you?
yeah, that night I stayed up. I stayed up all night, and when I was just finishing, the drywallers walked in, and they were like, "Uh, what time did you start this morning?" And I said, "Well, yesterday morning at 9 a.m. is when I started."
Yeah.
So that's how that was the first generation, or actually that was the second generation of the studio. That was when we first moved out here,
Yep.
and those the same insulation is in the walls of this room. So
Yeah.
what so crazy too, the way that community there's a community that surrounds the studio, Kyler, and it's been awesome to be able to reach out to people from the way back like you and be reminded of, it hasn't been just my blood, sweat, and tears. It's been this community,
And that's what I think. That's what keeps a lot of us connected to it. Is you allowed us to be a part of it, and you trusted us to. You trusted us to do the things right while you were gone. So
Yeah.
we feel a part of it in that sense.
Yeah, I think so. I hope you always do, because
Yeah.
I did have a lot of trust for you. I remember one time too. You s- you I have people in my life that have helped me understand myself, and you were someone that said to me one time when you recorded here. I don't remember which project. It seems like there was a few. Like, you would help me. I would use you as a session player sometimes, and then it seemed like there was a few sessions you came in, and you know what? I think it was your Bring Your Song tune.
Okay.
And I said, man, just have Joel come and let him engineer it, dude. Just do your thing. And you told me, you're like, when it was all done, you said how much you appreciated that. And what you said was that I really appreciate your hands-off approach. And I thought that I hadn't really encountered that, because it was just us using the studio. You and Joel, everyone else were just a part of the us. So it didn't feel like I was stepping out of the way or stepping back. But that you guys just felt complete control to do whatever you needed to do. I think
I think that's important. I think that's why there is so many people that feel comfortable coming there, is because you're humble, and whenever whenever the leader and the owner is humble, then everybody else can enter that space and feel that presence, and then everyone's ego and pride kind of gets disarmed, so no one's trying to outdo or prove anything. You can just get down to why you came.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that as a huge compliment. From the standpoint of, then I remember the Bring Your Song, where you were playing something, and I appreciated the risk that you were willing to take by bringing what you called a broken song. It's not done. It's sort of in a broken state. I'm not sure what to do about some piece of it. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but we had Ben Payne Skyped in. We had him on the iMac sitting over in the corner, and he was interacting with us in real time from up in Cleveland someplace. And he said, Kyler, play that chorus again. And you played the chorus, and he said, what if that bridge you did this, and he gave you a progression. And then, do you remember Ryan Gerber?
Yeah.
Ryan Gerber jumped up, And in the intermission, when we did a quick switch, you and Ryan, like, just kind of workshopped some progressions and stuff, and I was like, man, this is out of control. The conversation started with you just mentioning this one little idea in it. Do you remember any of that, or am I just making it up?
That that was a long time ago. I do remember it a little bit, but I think I remember that in other people too. Other people saying, "I'm not sure about this song," and then like kind of during the breaks or intermissions, you have these breakouts where 3 or 4 people talk to each other. A couple people will say, "What about this? What about that?"
Right.
Then you get some of that natural collaboration, kind of like parents with kids go hang out with parents with kids.
Right. Yep.
So when you have musicians with songs, they want to hang out with other people with musicians with songs.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, and it could be an idea that would work for you guys, maybe for a Bring Your Song event or something. But I did it was a worship leader retreat, and one of the things we had to do was they just split us off into groups of 4, I think, and in each group, each person played an instrument or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to write a song in, I think it was like an hour or 30 minutes. And then you had to perform it in front of everybody. So it was a good, exercise to learn how to contribute, but to also die to the things that you really want. Because
right.
if you get different personalities in there, there always has to be give and take.
That's right.
And then you get to know those people that are in your group and what they play. So if people did that at Bring Your Song, then they would just naturally have that connection. Just from a half hour, they'd feel closer to those people.
Right.
But I don't know, just an idea that sparked in my head when you said that.
I remember that you did that here with your team before you recorded. But
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Just so you know, like, I think about the studio a lot. I think about that street, and it's usually in my mind. It's usually at night, and it's usually like kind of cold or rainy or snowy, and the carriage house is lit up and nice and warm looking inside. Yeah, I just have this mental picture every time I think of Ron or Canton, or it's right there. It's the same picture every time. I mean, we talked about it a little earlier, but I met John Yanni through Bring Your Song.
Yeah, that's right.
And we connected because we were both worship leaders at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept in touch and just kind of, I don't know, hung out every once in a while. But once I moved out here and got in my accident, he's been a real crucial part of my journey still, spiritually and just supportively. And there was one point when I was in the hospital and I was still in a induced coma because they were trying to get the bleeding on my brain to go away. And he reached out to my wife, Amy, and prayed with her. And I didn't know any of this until, I don't know, maybe a month or so afterwards. But we got back home. I'm still in my neck brace and my back brace and my arm brace, and I'm on medication. And Amy told me, yeah, John Yanni called and prayed with me, and she said it was such a comfort because he prays like you. And that just touched me so much, that someone that I met at your event, Bring Your Song, your studio, Realgrey, stayed as a connection and became a closer friend over 10, 11 years, and then comforted my wife
Wow.
in one of the most difficult seasons of our lives.
Yeah, I can't imagine
And
it, dude.
just really warms my heart still to this day. And me and him are super close. I just actually sent him a song that I've been working on yesterday. Just recorded an MP3 and sent it over to him and asked him, "Hey, what do you think of this? Any thoughts?"
Right.
And he said, "I like it. Can you send me the lyrics?" So we're still doing the Bring Your Song thing, and he lives in Louisville and I live in Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona, and Louisville, Kentucky, right?
Louisville, yeah.
Yeah, Louisville.
Dude, and that's the humility I'm talking about that makes people feel welcome there. And I really appreciate your kind words towards me. It's not me. My personal belief is it's Jesus and working within me, because my spiritual journey has been way up and down, and I've doubted harder than anything, and I've wanted to walk away from life and from people, and it's not me, but I just, like you, just want to be a tool to be used for your community to help people.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do with my life too, man.
Yeah. What's the purpose of the song? I want it to be something that serves the listener.
I listened to James Taylor did a short little biography called Break Shot, and he talks about the first 18 years of his life. And he said the purpose of a songwriter is not to see how good he can make himself feel, it's to see how good he can make others feel.
No. That's awesome.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's right.
And you have to walk that fine line of being true to yourself, but also like, are you just writing this for yourself? Good. Sometimes you need to do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to write because like you said, it's bigger than yourself. Mm-hmm. And you want to share it with people, and you want it to help people, and you want it to let people